Because a lot of the things that I hear are, I want freedom, I want to be my own boss.
And like I want to make the money that comes with it.
I would probably do away with the word freedom in entrepreneurship. I would probably say that if that is one of the leading reasons, it's maybe not the best fit right now.
I feel like we have a different kind of freedom. You can wake up and choose not to come to work, but then your business isn't going to grow. You're going to have your culture is going to fail, all the things that come with it.
Welcome to the Premium Mindset, the weekly podcast where homegrown entrepreneurs and business owners, Evan Ritchey and Cameron Bawden, share the good, the bad, and the ugly of modern entrepreneurship and reveal what really happens behind the scenes of their personal and professional lives. As owners of two of America's fastest growing and most disruptive companies, Coconut Cleaning and Green Mango Pest Control. Stay tuned for real stories, struggles, insight, and advice from real entrepreneurs in real time.
9 to 5 or start a business or franchise a business. You have a lot of options, and today we're going to talk about our experiences, not only with a 9 to 5, working with people who work a 9 to 5, but also what we're doing at Coconut Cleaning to franchise and our experience in small business. So Cameron, who has never worked a 9 to 5, if I come up to you and I'm in that weird space where I'm working 8-9 hours a day, I'm not in that job that I really want to do, but I'm making good income, but I really, really feel like I want to make that leap into small business. What are some of the coaching tips you would give me to see if I'm right for doing that?
Well, I was with a guy yesterday, and he actually told this story about his buddy who was a lawyer. And he went through school, however long that is, 6 years or longer. And he got to the end, and he realized, I don't want to be a lawyer. What I love doing is I love educating people. And so he went and he became a teacher, and he didn't like teaching, but then he became the school librarian. And he was like, dude, he's looking at him, hey, you could have made a ton of money because you're a lawyer. How much money could you have made? Who knows? But you're a librarian. And the point of his story was it's about being happy. Yeah. And so everyone's happiness is different. And I think that's what makes the world go around. I think if I was going to give a breath of fresh air to a lot of people is the grass is never greener. Yeah. Right. And a lot of people think entrepreneurship, you have all this freedom, you have a ton of money, you have, whatever, the visual that of whoever you're following is, but I'm stuck at this 9 to 5. There's a lot of great things about a 9 to 5. So you really need to ask yourself, what are my end goals? And sometimes you have to sacrifice your happiness for your end goal. That's what I truly believe. I was never really passionate about pest control. I really wasn't. There was things in the business that I loved, but for me, it was all about the end game, which was freedom, more time with my family, that freedom, and then the money. And that's what I wanted to be. I knew that I had to go spray routes. I had to go learn how to knock doors. I had to, all the things that come with business. And I enjoyed some aspects of it, but I never really found that I was truly happy with exactly I was never passionate about my pest control business. Yeah. And that was one thing that I was always jealous of Dusty about, because I felt like he was an artist and he had to do things outside of being creative. But most of the time, we tried our best to just keep him in that creative realm, which is what he was great at. And I think it's what he enjoyed.
As you're saying that, I love that. I remember selling for you guys 14 years ago. And Dusty was the first one that came to spray my first sale. Yeah. And I just remember because in my 2 weeks of knowing him, I already made a distinction. I'm that's so weird that he's going to be my technician as well. And he pull up to the house, and to me, he was business owner Evan or business owner Dusty. And then he went to the customer's house, and then he put on that tech hat. And it was fun to watch him do that.
Yeah, embrace that.
Yeah. But, my advice, what I'd say to anyone who's in that weird stage of you work 9 to 5 or you just have a job, right? And you're not sure if small business is right for you, is I would just ask why are you interested in small business, right? And a lot of the things that I hear, I would probably steer them away from it, because a lot of the things that I hear are, I want freedom, I want to be my own boss. And Is there any other ones that you usually hear?
Freedom, my own boss. That's pretty much it.
Right.
And like I want to make the money that comes with it.
Right. There you go. Okay. So let's just go down that list real quick. I would probably do away with the word freedom in entrepreneurship. And I would say one of the most noble responsibilities of an entrepreneur is the options that you have to do what you want to do. However, I'd say it's also one of the most difficult aspects of being an entrepreneur is knowing that you could keep making the sales, or you could step back and write your manual and have someone else make the sales. And so you have a lot of options. But for the first reason why people might say they want to be an entrepreneur of freedom, I would probably say that if that is one of the leading reasons, it's maybe not the best fit right now.
But I feel like we have a different kind of freedom.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by that?
Would you say like the option route, like you have the ability
to choose freedom,
what you
but
do?
not like you don't like you have freedom, but you don't have freedom.
Right.
And I guess what I mean by that is you can wake up and choose not to come to work, but then your business isn't going to grow. You're going to have your culture is going to fail, all the things that come with it. You don't have to submit your own paid time off.
Yep.
You don't have, so there's that freedom that's nice, but there's always that like tug of war of, okay, if you don't do those things, when you have a 9 to 5 and you don't show up to work, you're going to get fired.
Yep.
If you don't show up as an entrepreneur, your business just probably won't grow.
That's a good point.
And so I think like that, and then that's why a lot of people fail, right? Because they want that freedom and they're not willing to like continue to put in the work and keep showing up, because no one's holding them. Like there's no manager over them wanting them to clock in, wanting them to check all the boxes. What did you do today, right? But then at the end of the day, it's like the world comes down and says, hey, you didn't show up. You didn't, write the manual. You didn't go out and make the sales. You didn't do the training. Your culture sucks. So now there's no money in the bank account and you got to close the doors.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say, I think that's a perfect point, is that you have the options to choose what you want to do and what you want to get. And here's what's defeating about it too, is you can choose to show up all day and still not see anything immediately as far as this thing's going to work. And so I would say if that's one of the immediate reasons where you say, I'm tired of a boss making sure that I'm coming to work and that I have to show up on my schedule, I have to do PTO, but then you say, that's why I want to do entrepreneurship, I would say maybe not yet. But then I would address the other one as well, as like, I want to be my own boss. This is the one that I kind of laugh at now, where it's like, everyone is my boss. Most importantly, the customer is your boss.
What do you mean by everyone is your boss? I feel like I understand, and I can give a crack at it if you want, but like,
how I think of leadership is that you lead by example. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to Cole today. Cole, he runs our Coconut Phoenix location. Mm-hmm. And I reminded him, I said, Cole, everyone will do 20% less than what you do in terms of effort. So you have to show up at like 100% to 120% if we can even, measure that. And so what I'd say to, define that or expound a little bit is that your business will be a vacuum chamber of you and the attributes that you embody and that you demonstrate every day. And so you will become a slave to your bad habits. If you are disorganized, you will spend your time having to clean up the clutter, or when you are in a bind and your accountant saying, we need these receipts, we need, verification of this, you will be a slave to the things that you are not good at. And the things that you are best at will, if they reflect well in the business, those will be the things that serve you. But I notice when I say everyone's my boss, is that it's ultimately this, like, think of like this vacuum chamber that just comes right back up to me, is that if I teach people to lead and to make decisions and think about the ROI of their effort, what I get back up to me is I have the problem of people who are accelerating faster and they want growth, they want bonuses, they want better positions, because it's a good problem to have, but it also kind of sucks. And we were there with Coconut 3 years ago when we were teaching these guys sales and teaching these guys how to grow. The vacuum chamber pushed right back up is, hey, you're going to lose those people that you've been nurturing because they want more now. And so every employee in terms of Coconut and, even here at Green Mango where, I'm still helping with the merger. Is that I need to be there for them. And guess what? If I'm not there for them, they will start not being there for their people. And then sure enough, it's going to reflect in the KPIs and the numbers. And so if you don't like having someone that makes you accountable, a boss, right? Or someone that says, hey, this is your schedule, you have to learn to be that person for yourself before you can jump ship.
I think that's everything.
Yeah.
Like we could literally end it right there.
Yeah. If it's to be your own boss, you have to perfect and discipline yourself to.
So how have you become disciplined enough to show up without someone riding you?
My initial response to that is my dad it was very clear to me growing up that if I wanted something, I would have to pay for it. So he supplied me on my 8th birthday a lawnmower, a trimmer, a John Deere pull tractor, trash bags, and 500 business cards, Green Thumb Lawn Service, Evan Ritchey. And he said, you have to pay for things.
This was for what birthday?
8th. Not 18th, 8th. And I just remember that there were multiple moments in my early childhood where I wanted something or I wanted to start baseball. And he's like, okay, go get your money. And if I didn't have it, I couldn't get the things that I wanted. And so I would say very early on, I learned that if I don't show up for myself,
you go sell the lawnmower and the trimmer.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, I didn't understand what you were asking me to do. But I learned very early on, and I'm so grateful for that if I don't show up for myself, then pretty much no one's going to show up for me. And finding people like you in my life, that's a bonus because I think a lot of people, and I talked to, if I could just go on like a little, not a rant, but
please.
I was with the West Valley guys this morning at Green Mango teaching the Master Communicator course. And I was taking a look at numbers and I showed up to them and I just said, guys, like, let's just botch the course. Like, let's not do it.
Because you weren't happy with them.
Yeah, it's like I like the guys, but no one improved for the last like couple months. And I just turned it back on them and I said, if you go into 2025 that, hey, I need this course, I look forward to that hour that we have with you, and that's what makes you want to sell, I can't help you. Like my next thing just needs to be, we're just going to botch the course and sell what you can and do what you can.
Yeah.
But I've learned constantly, and what's reinforced as an entrepreneur is that if you don't show up for you in terms of whatever it is that you want, I'm going to do, let's go a little bit more detailed, okay? So Cameron and I own Coconut Cleaning together. And I came over, you guys know the story. I came over to help with culture and like maybe one other thing at Green Mango 2 years ago. I have phenomenal people at Coconut that helped maintain, where we were at. And I saw Cameron go through this sell, and it was actually, I told Alyssa, it was her throwing that surprise celebration dinner where I was looking around at all your family, all your friends, all these people that showed up, and there wasn't a single person that I was like, oh, I don't like that. I'm like, I like all these people. They're all good people. And bottom line is they showed up on a Friday night to celebrate what you had done and what you accomplished. Mm-hmm. And I turned over to Kate and I said, it's not that I want this, but like I want the opportunity for this to happen. And you and I have been talking the last 3 months as you've, had this merger with Pesco, and I know that you do things at the, board level or whatever whatever that is, but you and I have had a lot of uncomfortable conversations about, hey, like I make great money, I do well, Coconut does decent, but Evan, if you want to hit that home run, like you have to make that happen. I'm here watching the podcast or watching Instagram, and it's like the helicopter and all this stuff, and it's like all it does for me is motivate me. Other people would say, where's Cameron to help you? And he gave me the lawnmower, the trimmer, the John Deere tractor, and said, go make something. And you helped me at Coconut, but I promise you that going into entrepreneurship, if you work a 9 to 5, it will challenge everything you know about yourself if you do it right. And it's the hardest thing you will ever do if you do it right. But it's the most rewarding feeling to know that what you have in your business is a vacuum chamber of your habits. And I say it and it annoys me, but it's why Green Mango did so well. You do your meditation and then your ice bath and then you do this and then you do that and you don't budge. And that is one of the most admirable things that I've been able to watch, is how religious you are to these habits that you've created, and it reflects in the business. And when I look at Coconut and I look at it in disgust, it's also like me looking at me in the mirror with disgust, because it's like the things that aren't doing well or that could be doing better, I can trace them right back to poor qualities that I have.
Yeah.
And I'm a really nice guy. I hold people accountable, but I'm very graceful because I want grace for me.
Right.
And that's a great spiritual attribute. But in business, it doesn't hold as well. And so I've learned that more in the last 2-3 months, where I look back at, man, why do people go to war with yourself, and not the TikTok way, not all that stuff way. You get like,
what's
there's
the
just
TikTok
all
way,
that.
man?
It's just like it's just like demons and fighting demons. It's like, it's not about that. It's who you are in your business will reflect back to you through every system, operation, and culture.
Yeah. I guess what I would say to that, and I love the story, man.
I haven't seen you in like a week or two, so I'm like, I just gotta.
I think as an entrepreneur, you have to realize when you're stagnant, because when you're stagnant is when you die. Yeah. So I had a cool thing. I'll tell a story that happened this week. I got this new helicopter, and in order for me to fly it by myself, I have to get 50 hours with an instructor. And it's cool. I really, especially my instructor, Cam Jackman, like, he's a really cool guy. It's fun to be with him, but like, it's just a pain in the butt to schedule podcasts. It's a pain, I just have to
anniversary trip.
Yeah, like I have to coordinate with his schedule, and it just kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So, I had planned this like 2-day trip. I need like 10 more hours. And so 2 weeks ago, I planned this 2-day trip. Monday and Tuesday, hey, me, my dad, James McCabe was going to come, Cam Jackman, and we were just going to go fly and try and get those other 10 hours. Like, go to Utah, go wherever. It's one of the things I love doing with my dad. So I was really excited for this trip. Saturday, Jason Jarvis calls me and he's like, hey, I'm with the Sandlot guys up in Utah, and they just invited me on a golf trip, and like, they want you to come. And my first thing is that like the networking thing, I don't always love it. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's important, but it's like helicopter trip or like go network with a bunch of guys. And
or both.
Well, so long story short, I decide to bag the helicopter trip because I can do that anytime. This was an opportunity to go on, the Sandlot guys' private jets. They have 3 planes, 2 of them jets, 1 Pilatus, and there's 15 high net worth guys going, and they're going to fly to South Carolina and play this prestigious golf course.
Okay.
Last minute, like, there was a bunch of weather, so they changed it. We went to California. It was still great. Like, they put us up. Like, just this amazing opportunity and this amazing trip. And just like what you're talking about, like watching me, being inspired, all those things, like, I was inspired by the Sandlot guys, Casey and Dave. And, like, they were just doing things right. And I can't wait to post some videos of this, because I took it, like, as we show up to the airport, there's this nice custom box. They gave me a survey before I showed up, like, what shirt size are you? What glove size are you? And when I showed up, like, my name's on the box. It's a nice professional box. You open it up and you feel like you're opening an Apple product. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it was just like, these guys figured it out, and they motivated me to go above and beyond and keep going. You know what I mean? And so, because I'm at a point in my life right now where I could sit stagnant for a while, and that bothers me. And I don't know where I want to go, but I know I don't want to sit stagnant. And like, that's why it's important to have role models or coaches and consultants. And, you know, I'm excited. Like Casey committed to start coaching with me. Cause I was like, hey, do you ever consult people? He's like, no. And I was like, oh dang, like, all right. And then I met with him the next day, and you know, we kept talking, and he called me, he texted me last night, and he said, hey, like, I'll coach you if you really want to. And I just like, yeah, I do, because you're
like, I
you're
thought
like,
you were going to ask me a second time.
yeah. Like, and, but the point is, it's like, no matter where you're at in life, like, you need, like, there's always someone doing more, and that's okay. You can look at them as like being jealous, or you can look at them as like, I want to learn from this guy and I want to go.
Can I say something to that?
Please.
Is that people might mistake more as like, Cameron, just be grateful for what you have. It's leveraging the time that you spend working. And so I always find that funny when people point their fingers at these successful entrepreneurs and just like, oh, isn't it nice? Or I saw a family post some TikTok and they said like, what a weird way to try to show off your mansion. And I looked at the house. I'm like, I tried taking screenshots of the living room because I'm like, that's a beautiful living room. Like, that's where my mind was going. But then I go to the comments and they were just getting dogged on.
Yeah.
But what you guys actually do is like, let's pretend like you do work a 9 to 5 out there. You work, you know, maybe 30 minutes to commute to work, 30 minutes back home. You're working 9-10 hours a day. There is just a certain group of people that have learned to leverage what they do with their 9-10 hours. Mm-hmm. Like, I can't speak for you, but I don't see you working like what you did for the last 14 years ever again.
No.
But what you can do now with your resources in 4 hours will compound better than, you know, you coaching or helping people for 9 hours a day. Like, you leverage your time better.
Well, and I think that's important. And I think that's what people need to realize, especially if you're that guy, if we're talking to the 9 to 5 right now, is if you look around and you say, okay, only 1% of companies get over that 10 million mark and are profitable. Yep. Like, dude, what do you think it's going to take to get that? And as I was looking at Casey and Dave, you know, I don't know if I was jealous, but I was like, dude, I got to figure out a way to justify a private jet. Like, right now I can't. I don't travel that much. So to have 2 guys on staff, you know, paying for their hotel while we're there for a couple of days, paying for the jets, all that stuff. But like, they created a business model around how it makes sense to have private jets, private, your own like pilots, all that stuff. And it was like, but I saw, and I told Casey this, I was like, hey, I've never felt more free than I have in the past 3 months. And I want to keep that, but I want to push myself, because I look at you and I'm envious of the jets and like the lifestyle that you have. But at the same time, like, I see the stress on your face. Like, I can see it. Yep. And I don't know if I want that again. So where, like, help me find that happy medium. Yep. And that's what was fun. But it's going to take some sacrifice to get there. And I was talking to Banks about this, because right now, you know, he has, like, we have him in a tutor because he fell behind on reading and math. But his tutors tell us, like, he's a really smart kid, but he just doesn't apply himself. And so I told Banks, I said, hey, we're done with the tutors and we can go 1 or 2 routes. And in 2-3 years from now, when, you know, you feel uncomfortable in front of all your school, you know, all your students, classmates, and then you'll be begging me for a tutor, or you can just hunker down right now and like figure it out. But like, you can trust me right now and like learn, or you can wait and hit rock bottom and then come to me. But either way, like, you're going to have to figure it out. Yep. And it's the same thing with, you know, with basketball and all those things. But some of us just have to learn those hard lessons, and some of us can like learn from other people. And that's why, not to plug like mentorship, but that's why I'm going to go spend a ton of money this year to have coaches. That's why it's one of the things that inspires me the most about Tommy Mello. I think he has like on average 5 coaches at one time. I don't even know how that's possible. But like, so if you're an entrepreneur or a 9 to 5 guy, go pay someone 20, 50, 60 grand that's just above, you know, where you're at, to help you take that next step. and do what he says. That's the most frustrating thing. We've talked about this. Like, should we charge for people that reach out and ask questions? And so what I've done is like, hey, if you want 15 minutes, I'll give it to you for free. But if you want an hour, I got to charge for it, because I got so tired of getting on these calls and like giving it my all. And then they're just like, you just know they're not going to go apply it. So it's like, dude, I'm showing up for you for free. I know what my time's worth, but you're showing up like not wanting to do anything. Like, what's up, dude?
Yeah. Let me bridge the information too, because we started talking about 9 to 5. We're talking about private jets and coaches. But here's what I'd say is the principles that overshadow either route are: look to people that are doing what you want to do, and then success leaves clues. So try to get those clues and piece as many together as possible. And at the end of the day, like, if you have a 9 to 5, let's not forget about the 5-6 hours that you have in the evening to do something. Let's not forget the 1 day a week per week that you get off. If you say you want to be a small business owner and you're doing nothing on your days off and in the evening and you're playing video games, there's no way you're going to turn on some switch and go start a small business where you're working 16 to 18 hours a day. So success leaves clues. Whether you work at 9 to 5 or you go in small business, I think a foundational principle to any of that is finding people who are where you want to be and trying to pick up as many clues as you can. And then the gap between those clues is just the action you take to get there, or no action at all. I think it's an important aspect to talk about, which is the pressure that comes with entrepreneurship. I feel like I'm able to speak to both pressures that come from 9 to 5 and the pressure that comes from entrepreneurship. And here's what I would say, not to be dramatic, but think about one of the most difficult times that you had or that you currently have had during a 9 to 5, where you asked for a week of bereavement and you asked for paid time off. You do and don't get that as an entrepreneur. So pretty much think about the most soul-crushing event that you've gone through in your 9 to 5. And at least in the early stages of small business, you don't get the bereavement deal where you're saying your paycheck's the same and a whole team is going to take up everything that you've been doing in your absence. I can't explain the pressure. It's just a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of nights where you go to bed tired and you wake up tired. And I know that if you feel that in your 9 to 5, it's not about like which one makes a person more superior. But at the end of the day, the pressure that you experience, in my opinion, the ROI on the pressure that comes from entrepreneurship yields a lot better returns, not only in your net worth and building an asset, but also in your income. But if you don't do well under pressure and you start getting snippy at everyone around you and you're just, a terrible thing to be around when you are going through a hard time, maybe you should revisit, maybe you should learn on, developing attributes that help you during times of pressure before you go into small business, is what I would say as far as pressure goes.
I'm like kind of embarrassed to share this, but I want to open up because it's just crazy how different my life has been from just in 12 months. And when I say this, you'll probably remember it because I shared with you.
Yep.
But our Listen I's anniversary is in like the beginning of December. Mm-hmm. And last year, and I was thinking about this at Castle Hot Springs, is that last year there was just a ton of things that hit at once, and we couldn't make our payroll, right. $1 million. And I had to come out of pocket to where like my bank account, and I literally have screenshots of it. I think I had $14 in my bank account. Yeah. And Liz wanted to go on this like huge anniversary. Like she was accustomed to big. Right? Yeah, it was booked. It was done. Yeah. And I canceled the anniversary trip because we literally had $14 because I had to make payroll. And we ended up staying at our house, which is still beautiful. I'm not like, this isn't a woe is me moment. And like I think Lexi and her sister like helped me decorate, at the table at the house and like have candles and stuff there. And so it's still wonderful. But the point is like that's the pressure that you have as an entrepreneur, is that you are the backstop. You have like, it doesn't, and I've never worked for anyone during that 9 to 5. So I don't know if it's just, I doubt it just like shuts off at 5. I'm sure people are stressed after work of like whatever's going on. So I can't say like, oh, at 5 o'clock it shuts off for you, but you have the ability to not have to answer your phone after 5. Like the bosses don't expect it, right? Mm-hmm. For us, that's when most our calls happen. That's when most of the time when we meet, from 11 o'clock till 2 a.m. because that's the only time we have to meet. And it's like, dude, like that's the pressure that no one thinks about or talks about. And then again, it's like, what's cool is staying consistent and a little like breath. And maybe my ego wants to say this, it's like a year later, I'm living my dream, flying in to this hotel that I've always dreamed of, in the helicopter I've dreamed of, staying at the nicest place ever. And like, I just sat there soaking in the hot spring. Like, this is crazy. This is unbelievable, but again, and stress-free, like all the weight of the world on me 12 months ago. And now like, I couldn't be lighter. Yeah. So
yeah, it's just choose your hard. And
I want to but I love when you said choose your hard, and I don't mean to be like lighthearted. James Sisko went through like a pretty hard family event, and he's like, that's nothing because I've been in business with you guys. And I was just like, boom, I love it, dude, because like we laugh at people that are stressed out in 9 to 5s, but like it's their own hard. And so you need to go experience that. Like you need to keep pushing yourself. And that's where I'm excited to hire another coach, is that I'm a little scared, but I'm really excited because he's going to push me in some uncomfortable positions, I hope, right? Yeah. But that's why, like, if you're stressed at your 9 to 5, like, you need to push yourself harder, because, like, and people would look at our problems and be like, dude, like billionaires would look at our problems and be like, you guys are little pansies. You know what I mean? So it's all different. Everyone needs to keep leveling up, pushing yourself, and try and, get people, be around people, surround yourself with people that are at where you want to go.
You just made me think of something. Isaac Newton says, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And, I don't mean to get spiritual with people, but there's a principle that you understand in Christ's suffering, that he descended below all things so that he could understand everything that we've been through. And I think of that law about for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And I think in entrepreneurship, when you experience those lows, the highs it's like you just set new boundaries for your ability to feel. And I think what you do with those lessons could mean a lot. And you can help save a lot of people from a lot of pain, and also increase their boundary simultaneously for enjoying the reward of their work without having to experience the similar pains. I think as far as like a timeline goes in entrepreneurship, I think something pretty early on in Coconut you ingrained into me is, I don't know why partnering with you and Dusty, I had this automatic thought that it was guaranteed success. Mm-hmm. And I remember about 6 months in, we started to experience just some issues.
The opposite of success.
Yes. And I looked to you and I'm like, hey, like, so what's next? And you're like, I don't know, man. Like, this is your thing. I'm here to help you with systems, policies, mindset, but this is your thing. And it became very clear that whether Coconut was going to be around in 3 more months or not was entirely up to me. Mm-hmm. And so I would say it's the same thing that you said about showing up for your 9 to 5 or not, is that, yes, if you stop showing up for your 9 to 5, you don't have your job. But for the most part, if you show up and perform in a 9 to 5, you can pretty much bet that as long as that business is around, you know what you're going to be doing for the next 20, 30 years. In entrepreneurship, you can work as hard as you are capable of and still have no promise if you are not providing a product or service that the market needs. And, I think of Kate's dad, where he's been a chef for 40 years and he was just let go at the age of like 55. Wow. And he's been looking for a job for like 3 or 4 months and nothing. Yeah. And so it's like, I see his world like crumbling around him where he's like, man, I in 7 more years, I was going to retire at 62 and get my, retirement.
Yeah.
And so I understand that there are no promises in that too, but for the most part, when you work a 9 to 5 and you do your job, you have that thing forever, and you know what your paycheck's going to be, and that's great. And in entrepreneurship, that's just not there.
Yeah. You're always living and dying by the many decisions that you make today. Pay, marketing, doesn't matter.
And keeping up with the times. Look at all the businesses, Kmart, all those that shut doors that were once multi-$100-million companies. They didn't pivot with the times. Walmart, Target comes along, and Kmart, they're gone. So it's also have to stay ahead of the curve as well. So it's tiring.